Hey guys, today we're in the master closet and today we're going to be doing a little bit of wallpapering. So I'm not doing the build this time. It is California Closets. We've been working with them. They have been absolutely amazing. They basically helped so much with the design. They just really knew their stuff and helping with choosing the material and then of course doing the install. But to save a little bit of money, they did actually allow us to bring our own handles. So none of them are in here right now, but that's coming. And also allowing me to do a little bit of wallpapering. So one of the choices in the closet was like getting backing, and I chose not to get backing on everything because I knew I wanted some wallpapering accents in here. So you can see like there's like doors here that go into our closet, but our dresser actually sits on the other side. And it's kind of like in this hall area that I've already wallpapered, and I would like that same wallpaper to be in our closet, which is why I'm doing it. Okay, so before we even start, I wanted to explain a little bit of what was going on here. So there's gonna be a shelf right here, and I painted this black line here because the wallpaper is black, and if you're putting a really dark wallpaper on top of a light paint color on the wall, it's gonna be much easier to see the seam. Same goes for if you're putting light wallpaper on a dark wall. So I know I'm gonna need 2 panels and I want the seam to go here. So I painted it black so that it would be harder to tell. The other thing is I'm actually doing this in a few pieces. So here, I'm gonna hide a seam right there because I know that there's gonna be a shelf there and that is never gonna move. It's gonna look too weird if I move that shelf up. And I obviously won't move it down because this is a full open space. The reason why I am kind of doing it in pieces, so it's gonna be 4 pieces, like 1, 2, 3, 4, is because to go like from top all the way down and then to match it here, this is a very visible area, it's like what you see when you first walk into the closet, it would be quite difficult because the 2 pieces don't fit perfectly in here, and this I can't move. The reason why I didn't do the wallpapering before, if you saw my kids' closets, I actually did the painting and the wallpapering in their closets before their closet installs. I didn't do it here because, well, I guess like one California Closets, they were doing the demo in here on the same day, so I didn't have the opportunity. I probably could have gotten a third party to do it. For whatever reason, California Closets, they recommended a third party to take out the stuff in the girls' bedrooms, but not in our closet. And so I just kind of went with it and figured I would make do. I've wallpapered a lot. It's not always perfect. I've learned a lot of things along the way, but I knew that I could do it in between things if I needed to. But after the installers left today, I just asked like, hey, like, can I wallpaper? And they said, sure. So I'm gonna do that. The other thing is that I was gonna actually mud some of the like drywall that's showing. I don't think you can, oh yeah, you can. So there's some there. I was gonna mud that. But talking to the installers, contractors who just have so much more experience than me, they said I probably wouldn't need to, especially with having a wallpaper with a pattern on it. Any sort of bumps that might appear because the glue gets absorbed differently over paint versus over like drywall shouldn't be too noticeable. It's also going to be behind some shelves, so not super worried about that. But yeah, I have already cut out the 2 pieces that will go here. I'll match them and put those up, and then I will work on the ones above. The other thing I wanted to mention is there was the opportunity to go from like bottom up with wallpapering, but when I imagine that, I think it'll just be like really hard and that glue is gonna get everywhere. And with dark wallpaper, I really don't want glue to get on it. I do use like water soluble wallpaper glue. I don't know if there's another kind because this is what I've always used. But it's kind of like white glue, so if it gets onto the dark wallpaper, it'll be visible. So I learned that the hard way. So I don't want that to happen. So yeah, I guess let's just get started and hopefully I can finish this tonight. It's a school night, so I'm gonna try to finish it, and then they can finish the install tomorrow, and then I can start putting everything back together.
While I'm doing this, I thought I'd do a little voiceover to kind of explain what I'm doing. So I'm applying the paste to the wall. I actually usually apply it to the back of the wallpaper, but this piece is kind of small, so just decided to do it right to the wall. And this first piece, if you've ever done any wallpapering before, you would know that the first piece is always the most important piece. it needs to be straight because every other piece of wallpaper that's going to be going on the wall is going to be following along with that. So there's a few challenges with this piece. I am using just like a little level to try to make sure that's straight, but there is also a plug in the way, so I did end up having to cut around there. I also had a little bit of issues kind of getting behind that middle wooden piece there that I'm doing right now. I was able to move that a little bit, but I didn't want to risk taking it out because I think like when I looked at it, I would have had to take out multiple pieces of the closet, and I just didn't want to undertake that. So even though I am showing how I put on this wallpaper, I did actually end up having to rip everything off and redo it, which really sucked because I had to buy a whole new roll of wallpaper. But essentially what had happened is I didn't need to re-mud anything. I don't know if I just misunderstood or what, but when I was talking to the contractors, they said I could just put the wallpaper on, which is exactly what I did. But those areas where there is drywall, so there's no paint on there, that's where our previous closet was, and in between that is caulk. So I didn't take off the caulk, and I kind of like was doing this and I was thinking maybe I should take off the caulk, and I didn't, and I really just should have. I shouldn't have been trying to kind of rush through this, but because I didn't do that, all of this wallpaper didn't stick to the wall and it was like starting to come off. So super important to have really flat walls. I should have taken my own advice. I know that. I've done this enough times to know that, but yeah, don't rush it. Take your time and make sure you have very, very smooth walls. So after I had taken everything down, I went back in and I took off all of the caulk on there, and the second application went a lot better. So with the second piece, it wasn't too bad. I just had to line up the seams, make sure the pattern matched, and then also just keeping in mind that I had to go through the outlet. And again, you can kind of see why it's so important to get that first piece on so straight, because this second piece here is following it. So if the first piece is not straight, then everything else won't be straight. I'm going to say that this install it was a little bit difficult. I really wish I would have done this before the closet install. There was just a lot of things that I kind of had to work around. Also, that shelf, the top shelf, it wasn't actually attached. So I am like trying to trim the wallpaper and everything so there's no gap, but I also wish I had known that it wasn't attached, because then I could have just like wallpapered right down and then it would have been attached on when the installers came back. So for this piece, you can see that I applied the glue onto the wallpaper first and then I booked it, so I just kind of folded it over itself. The wallpaper, it's not too bad to work with, but I do find that this one specifically, if it folds too much, it really shows. I think it's just because it's that dark color, and then when it folds, like the white paper shows under a little bit. But here, I made sure that the seam, even though I knew that the seam was going to be hidden behind a shelf, I did do my best to make sure that it was going to match. And so at this point, I'm kind of like wondering about the caulk, and I'm just like a little bit worried. I think I actually did cut off. It looks like I'm cutting off a little bit here. I really just should have done it before. But even though I did trim some of this off right now, it was not enough. There's a bit of an overlap that you can kind of see from the top panel to the bottom panel. And then after I get that panel in well, which you kind of see I'm like lifting that middle piece out a little bit just to get it under there, I go back in and I just like will trim both pieces of paper. So the one on top, that's on top of the bottom one. It's what I'm kind of getting ready to do right now. And then afterwards, I take off all the excess and the seams just match. So I did get that final panel on, just didn't have too much else to say about it. So we're moving right on to this area, which it's a cabinet above and there are some shoe shelves. I didn't need to wallpaper like in the cabinet, but I don't know, I just decided to. There wasn't really much I was going to do with that extra piece if I didn't. So this was actually like relatively easy. I applied the glue to the back. So I like to apply the glue to the back of wallpaper when it's a bigger piece. And then I like to apply it to the wall when it's a smaller piece. This is just, for me, it like decreases the mess. And then yeah, this was just, I did actually trim it down a little bit so the width wasn't as big, just to be able to kind of like fit into this space easier. And then yeah, this was a pretty good and a simple wallpaper install in this space, at least. No extra caulk anywhere. I guess this was also kind of easy because I wasn't super concerned because of these shelves that are now going in, so it is like a little bit hard to see the wallpaper. I just like that little something extra, especially like, I don't know, just in this corner where I know it's behind a door and everything too, but just adds a little something extra. So these are the shoe shelves that were supplied by California Closet. I'm going under to install them because they're kind of like the IKEA attachments where you line everything up, you put it together, and then you have to take a screwdriver and like screw it in to tighten. They are a little bit finicky, as you can tell. I didn't really have too many issues with it, but if things aren't lined up perfectly, if you've ever built IKEA furniture, you'll know it just doesn't quite go in quite right. And then I also ended up having to put the shelves back in the main area. You can see the second panel on there. I wasn't lying about getting that up. And then these shelves, they attach the exact same way. I think the one thing I'll say about the shelves is that I overall didn't have any issues in moving any of them, but there were two in our closet. It's actually the one to the left of where I am right now. When I tried to move that shelf, there was actually like a little bit of adhesive on the back. There shouldn't be. All these shelves are supposed to be adjustable, like there's holes all along the side. And then somebody had to come in and fix it, and I did mention it, and the contractor that came, he said that they're not supposed to use glue, but that he has seen some contractors use glue. And so that was unfortunate. It happened on the left side and the right side when I tried to move those shelves up a little bit higher. Luckily, there's like a lot of stuff hung there. It's not like super noticeable, but it did take off a significant chunk of the backing. And it was just disappointing. If I wasn't supposed to move it, I felt like I should have been told. And I also felt like I should have been asked where I wanted the shelf. But it's been resolved and I'm still happy. Things happen. Alright, so this is all I've got because I accidentally deleted the rest of the videos. So I will show the final look, all the rest of the wallpaper that I did. And yeah, that'll be in the final reveal. So I am sorry, you'll have to come back.